All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Be the Exception podcast. We are here with Bree. Bree, welcome.
Hey everybody.
Bree was hired on by us. Actually, a couple months ago. You're kind of going through the mentorship course right now, and we just made a formal announcement about what was that? 2 weeks ago now, I guess.
Yeah, it was like right after the camp.
Yeah, yeah. So we kind of just want to do a little podcast, introduce you, kind of get some of your training background and coaching history because you've been around in the sport for like over a decade now, right?
Yes, crazy enough. Almost 13 years. Yeah.
Right, right. Um, and yeah, I think we've chatted quite, or we've done a podcast, kind of like your upbringing into CrossFit. But yeah, I think this one will just kind of get into your coaching and competing history. So do
Yeah,
you want to
pretty
start?
extensive. Uh, well, I feel like I was competing before I was coaching, so maybe there and then how I got into coaching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I started CrossFit in 2013. I literally started at a gym that you would like if you imagine CrossFit back in the fire breather days and like a dungeon gym, like cracked walls, no AC, no heat in the Midwest, like that's what this was. Gray walls, like it literally felt like you're in a big jail cell. And it was literally just like go ham all the time. Like that was my introduction to CrossFit. But I knew right away like that gym had some like competitors or people that were aspiring to be competitors. So I wanted to be on the floor so bad. Um, so yeah, I basically just like I had never lifted a barbell, so that whole year like the coach just had me lifting all the time to get strong. So like I really didn't have the CrossFit experience. Like while classes were going on, I would be in the back or outside lifting and just like he had me on conjugate, like super stuff I shouldn't have been doing my first time with a barbell, probably.
Yeah.
I should have been doing something way more basic and I would have still seen results. Like I was definitely getting those newbie gains, you know.
Right, right.
Looking back, you know, it's always hindsight, but yeah, so from there, like I said, I didn't really like experience what CrossFit really was. Like there wasn't community. I was still kind of like working out by myself. And then that gym actually ended up closing down, like rightfully so. It was just terrible coaching, terrible leadership. And it wasn't until I joined Kinesis under Kyle Kasperbauer, who's also like a pretty known name in the sport, especially at the time. So 2015, I joined his gym, and it was also a very new gym. I think it only been open for a couple of months, but pretty much anyone that like went there like wanted to compete.
Hmm.
So I think he was getting back from shoulder surgery, so he'd taken a year off of individual and then didn't quite make it that year, but we qualified as a team by like 1 point in the Central Regional. So that was actually my first 2016 was my first like competition experience on the
Okay.
floor. That was the one that Sydney saw that video of me
I literally, yeah,
doing cleans.
I was like, I pulled it up on the gym TV here, and I was like, I literally typed in CrossFit Regionals, and the team North Central Regional was the first one that popped up for
That is so
2016.
funny.
And I'm like, God, I feel like such a douche clicking on it because I competed there as well. I'm like, I'm gonna look like such a tool putting the thing that I competed on up on the TV.
Which
I
is
was like,
crazy. We were at the same regional and like
I yeah,
meet 10 years later, you know?
I kind of totally forgotten about that. But like I put it on. I was like, I told myself I was just gonna click the first one that popped up. I clicked it, and I was doing like power cleans or something, and I look up at the TV. I'm like, wait, what? And sure enough, there's young Bree getting ready to hit a set of power cleans in the workout. Like,
Which that like at the time was like all I was really good at was just like barbell cycling because I just had done like 2 years of just straight up trying to get
competing.
strong, you know? And like
Yeah.
so I always just had this mentality on the barbell because I was usually like the smallest person there
Mhm.
that like I was just gonna like grip it and rip it and like it didn't matter my size, I was gonna be strong regardless. And so
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, give me those power cleans. But that was a really like special competition, I think, because not necessarily just because it was my first one, but like it really just showed me that like you really don't have to have like all the best. Like the people on your team don't necessarily need to be like the best in the sport. Like we had a very new person. I think half of our team, none of us had ever competed before. We
Wow.
had two new people. Like one, she'd been doing CrossFit for like a couple of years, but she was just kind of like a pretty solid like RX athlete. And
Yeah.
then one of our guys had been doing CrossFit for like 4 months. And we didn't
Yeah.
decide, like, we had like two guys we were choosing from. And we didn't decide who was going to be on the team till we got to Minnesota. Was it in Minnesota that year? Or Ohio?
2019 was in Ohio. Yeah.
Ohio, yeah. So when we got to Ohio, it was like the day that, like, basically Cal decided what guy we were going to choose.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a stressful, like, well, it wasn't really stressful for me. Like, I was like, that's your choice, dude. you know? Um,
Yeah.
but no, it was, we like still, for what our team was, I feel like we did really well. Like, we were like above middle of the pack, I think.
Mhm.
And we had some like really good events that we just strategized really well and
Mhm.
worked around like you kind of have to work around your, or I hate to say it, but like your weakest link, you know? And
Mhm.
I think we did a really good job with that. So it just really showed me that like as long as you like go in with a really solid plan and you like play to the players on your team, you can probably do pretty well. Obviously you do want people to be like, you want to have like a pretty solid team, but
Right.
um yeah, it just showed me a lot with like just belief in the team and leading a team, you know. So yeah, that was the first one. And then 2017, so that year we qualified by 1 point. 2017, we didn't qualify by 1 point. And I think I missed individual by like 11 spots.
Mhm.
And then 2018, we were like fourth in the region when we qualified.
Okay.
So that year was like, I was so confident that year. Like when we went to regionals, there was no doubt in my mind. Like our like motto that year was leave no doubt. And before
Mhm.
Proven had it, like we said it all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but that year I had no doubt. Like I was unshakable in the belief that we were gonna make it to the CrossFit Games. Like
Yeah.
we tested all the regionals workouts and like every single one was except for two we were a little bit worried about. Was the handstand walk one, like the first event, and then the those like short ropes in the last event or something like that. That event kind of worried us a little bit, but the other ones really, we were really fine in like top five scores. Of course at home that changes on the floor a little bit, but we ended
Right.
up having a player get injured, or an athlete get injured. So we had to pull out the second day, which would have been like our
Oh,
best day probably, so that
that's
sucked.
brutal. What
Yeah, and
happened?
then so yeah, we had that day had like the Echo bike, and it was a partner deadlift is what it was.
Yes, that just wrecked every guy's back.
Yeah, and for some reason, like every year I've competed, I always get stuck with the tallest guys
Mm.
on the deadlift bar. And I think just because I have like, I don't know, like longer arms or something. I don't know, but I get shaken like a rag doll out there. Like I'm just
Mhm.
hanging on for dear life every single
Right.
time. I'm always with a 6 footer. I'm 5'1".
Yeah.
It's happened to me 3 times, and I'm like, I am not doing partner deadlifts anymore. Like this is wrecking me, giving me whiplash out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think Kyle and our female teammate were up first, and then me and my male teammate were up second. And I she wasn't as strong on deadlifts. Like she's had kind of like a shaky back. And I
Mm.
think her cadence is just a lot slower. And Kyle was trying to match that. And the time under tension just started wrecking his back. And like
Mm.
I don't he pulled his hamstring basically. So like that was our final event. Like Joel and I went out there and basically afterwards Kyle's like, we gotta call it. So we pulled out, which really sucked. Like there have been times like, it just happens sometimes,
Mhm.
but that was kind of that was just really sucky. I don't know. We were really like really stoked for that. But before we got there, like we had a male teammate like who was supposed to actually be in Kyle's place pull out for like adrenal fatigue or something.
Mhm.
And then Kyle went in for that. And so like he already felt like he was supposed to just be coaching. Um,
Yeah,
so I just think the stars aligned to like what it was supposed to be in the beginning anyways, but
for
it lit a
sure.
fire for sure. And then the next year, gosh, is that when they changed it to sanctionals?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
2019, yeah. So I was having a really good year that year, but I've always been like a kind of a bubble athlete. And then I did the Mid Atlantic qualifier, and I think I was like two spots out from qualifying.
Hmm.
And then I qualified for Australia and MAC, and like a week before the Mid Atlantic, it was a week and a half out. A week before, or a week and a half out before Mid Atlantic, Kyle and I were gonna like get our tickets to Australia to go compete. And then like we literally just got off the phone and I was like, okay, I'm getting my ticket. And then I got this Instagram message from Mid Atlantic asking if I'd still be able to make it to compete because someone pulled out. So I ended up going there and found out just like a week out. So I started testing some of the workouts, and then that was my first individual experience on the floor,
Yeah.
which was really fun. It was really cool. But that like year, like they only had 20 competitors,
Hmm.
and like I'm used to like the competitors kind of being like, like all talking to each other and stuff. Like there was none of that. It was ice cold back there. Like
Oh,
on the
really?
girls' side, yeah, no one talked to, and it wasn't like bitchy or anything, but just everybody was just like in
Super
their own
quiet.
zone.
The
Yeah.
the individual side of things is way different than the team side of things too, though.
Oh, for sure.
Like team, you're out there with like six of your friends, and there's always one stress ball on the team, so you're like trying to take care of that person, and
That
everyone else
happens
is
every time.
yeah. So it's like everyone else is kind of just like, man, this person's chaos. Like I can't be chaos because this person's chaos. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I actually think in 2018, like that was part, like that happened, and I think that was starting to get in, like it was starting to affect everybody on the team a little bit.
Mm,
Um, just based like one person kind of stressing out a little bit, and then it just affects the rest of the team, and that's
totally.
also like a mental battle you have to get through. Like you can't control other people
Yeah.
on the team. You can't control how they're going to feel or how they respond in
Right.
stressful situations, and so yeah, Mid Atlantic was really fun. It really taught me a lot. It honestly was like the best I ever felt. Like placement wise, I didn't do very well. Like it was just I just wanted to get the experience, and um, it definitely taught me that like I'm good at CrossFit and like I don't specialize in anything else. Like any CrossFit workout was like fine.
Yeah.
Anytime it was like a weightlifting event or like monostructural or like some specialty event, not my thing. But
Gotcha.
it was really fun just to be like in that situation of just like only having yourself to rely on, and like
Mhm.
trusting your plan and going in with confidence that your plan is going to work, because there's a lot of like adversity that happened, but I was able to kind of just brush it off my shoulder and move forward, and that was like a good feeling. But that year, like 2019 into 2020, with like all the sanctional qualifiers, like I did so many qualifiers, and then
Yeah.
the open and stuff, like my body was beat up.
Yeah.
And so then in 2020, that's actually when I hurt my Achilles, like that I still deal with to this day,
Hmm.
was on the second Mid Atlantic qualifier I did.
Mm.
Um, and I qualified for that, but then 2020 they just canceled all the events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that year
That
I
was a tough
competed
year.
on it. Yeah, that was so tough. Like I think I qualified for like three competitions
Yeah.
and they all got canceled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I did compete at Wadapalooza on a team, and that was an interesting experience. Like
That
I
was
didn't
in
really
the
know.
that was in the elite division on a team, correct?
Yeah, I've competed there twice, and both times were on the elite division. This year we had it was four-person teams, two men, two
Oh, yeah.
females.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was interesting. It wasn't like bad, but I just
Dude,
like we
I
didn't
was
know each other.
yeah. I was coaching a team at that one.
Were you?
The 2021, right?
Yep.
Right, but it was literally the last competition before
Yes.
everything shut down.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I remembered we were there and like all of a sudden we were hearing like flights might be canceled and we were like, shoot, are we gonna get back home? Like,
Yeah.
should we leave a day early? And then basically once we got home, they were like, okay, everybody stay in your houses for the next month.
Yeah. Yeah. It was yeah, cuz that one was that one in February then? That one was in February or
Yeah, it was like it
they
was like the end
changed
of February, I think.
cuz I think they changed the date for the open that year, right?
Yeah.
It was yeah, yeah. I remember everybody getting sick after that one. Like everybody
So
getting sick.
the gym that I was at in Nebraska, like I swear we had patient zero for COVID.
I don't know. I had it in 2019. So,
So yeah, that was when we got it. It was in
oh, really?
2019.
Okay, okay.
Yes, it was like November, and I
That's
will never
literally
forget
when I
this.
got it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, when I tell you this story, you're gonna be like, that actually checks. So we had a member, and I still have the Facebook message. He flew to China because his wife's family is from there
Wow.
in like the end of October or something like that. And he Facebook messaged me, and he was like, "Hey Bree, just letting you know, like I haven't, like I'm not just skipping the gym. We're in China for a couple of weeks, but I'll be back." Couple weeks goes by, and I'm like, "Hey, where have you guys been?" And he's like, "Bree, I don't know what happened, but we got so sick. I had to go to the hospital. Like, I just feel like I can't breathe. My
Wow.
chest hurts." And from like November to December, our whole gym, like over 300 members, like all got whatever he had. I got
Oh
it
my
during the
gosh.
Wadapalooza qualifiers. I remembered like not being able to breathe a month later after getting sick, and I was doing these qualifiers. Like, it was awful. And then all of 2020 no one got sick because we'd already had it.
Yeah, that
So
was the
like,
same thing with me.
yes, I was like, we literally already had it. Like, we do not need to worry about this
Yeah,
now.
it already ripped through the juices. That's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was a COVID tangent. Apologies.
Yeah, no, that well then like I didn't get it again until 2021, and that's when I got really sick and injured before
Yeah,
Wadapalooza,
right.
that the second time I competed. So like
Yeah.
2021, we I think our team missed qualifying again by like 1 point or one place.
Yeah.
That 1 point, man, it
Yeah.
matters so much.
Brutal.
Well, actually, kind of like backtracking, I think the first year of quarterfinals, I missed semifinals by 1 point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first year we had quarterfinals, there was like 1 point of me making it to semifinals or not, and I
Wow.
missed it every
Yeah.
time. That 1 point like haunts me.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang, that sucks.
like several times.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So then I competed at Wadapalooza again on a team of three that year. But yeah, that like I gotten really, really sick right before that. And I was
Mhm.
still like going into that event, I was so sick. I ended up like going to the doctors and just getting like a corticosteroid shot so that I would like clear up my pathways a little bit.
Yeah.
And that like helped me be able to breathe at least, but I wasn't like better. Like I still had all the sickness, inflammation,
Right. Right.
and then I go compete at this like really high level competition, and I made it through the weekend, but like I had lost about 15 pounds going into it just from being
Wow.
sick. And
Yeah.
so we had a really heavy barbell event, and I remembered like leaving that event and my neck just kind of felt weird, and I was like, man, I don't know what's going on, like I just can't get this kink out. Fast forward like a couple weeks later, I'm at the gym, and I was doing wall balls of all things, and I was just like, man, my neck is like really bad. And I don't usually like stop a workout, but I did that day because it just was not feeling good.
Mhm.
But it was like right before the open, so I was getting like a little stressed, like, oh, I just need to like be performing, like I'm still getting over being sick, everything feels really bad. So we were snatching, and it was like my last rep, and that like herniated a disc in my neck
Mm.
like 2 weeks before the open. And
Mhm.
then a week goes by, I'm like at least able to get out of bed without pain, and I was doing clean and jerks, and I herniated it even worse.
Mm.
And that was like the start of probably like the most adversity for a few years I've been through, like in any competition.
Mhm.
Like that year during the open, basically, I actually had one of my best open scores ever, but like I couldn't even put like a barbell overhead. Like
Really?
it was so bad. I couldn't get out of bed. It was so painful. Like, and it was my C5, six, and seven that were herniated. And so like that year during the open, like we had Friday Night Lights, which I always really looked forward to. It was always fun. But like our plan kind of was like, you're doing it on Monday, you're not doing any redos. Like we're giving you as much time to heal as possible.
Mhm.
And like we're basically just gonna move through it and not get hurt again. And like the first
Mhm.
workout was the wall walk dumbbell snatch one with the box jump overs.
Mhm.
And that went okay, got through it. Like but I had to be like super methodical on the wall walks, like super
Mhm.
slow on the dumbbell snatches. The second workout was like my best open score. It was the deadlifts and burpee over bar.
Yeah, 10 to
And
1, 1 to 10, 10 to 1. Yeah.
yeah, that one was really fun. But like I literally like I was helping at Friday Night Lights, and I really wanted to do this workout. And then I was like, oh, I should probably just do it. Like I've been able to like pick up the barbell fine. And my coach like he was like, well, if you're gonna do it, you need to decide right now. And it was like 10 minutes before I was like, fine, I'll do it. like I
Yeah.
took it as like a threat or something. I don't know. And so then I did it, did great, didn't redo it. The final workout though, I couldn't really do that one because I think it had like heavy, like progressively
Oh,
heavier snatch it. Oh, no, you're right. I did do that one. That was the next year. So the thruster one ended up going okay, but that 95-pound bar kind of was troublesome.
yeah.
But yeah, ended up making it through, qualified for quarterfinals, and then that was the year our team missed by 1 point. So that was like
Okay.
kind of the individual into the team one. But I was able to finally like compete on the team at least by that point after a couple
Yeah.
months. But then the next year, I literally herniated my disc at the same time right before the open.
Dang.
And so I
Yeah.
had to do the exact same thing going into the open. Like every workout was done on Monday, one and done.
Mhm.
Um, I don't remember if that was 2022 or 2023. I think it was 2023. And then I did compete on team at semifinals that year, and that was probably like the worst competition experience, like personally, I've ever had. Nothing to
Mhm.
do with anyone else. It was just like I had so many injuries going into that. Like I tore both my lats the year before that.
Mhm.
Once was like in the summertime. By the time that lat healed, I tore my other one during the open. And
Mhm.
then I basically was like the sub for quarterfinals going into semifinals. Um, so we were letting my lat heal, but like even the week before semifinals, like I still couldn't do a pull up. And like one of our first events, I had to do like 70 bar muscle ups. So when we were testing the events, and it was the weirdest injury. Like I could snatch and clean and jerk and stuff and it was fine, but hanging from a bar was so painful. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
lat
it
tears.
literally like Velcro ripped. It was insane.
Yeah, lat tears are brutal.
And I was like so nervous because I just kind of already felt like I didn't belong on the team. Like we had another girl that I think they wanted, but she was going to be in like Africa or something cool. So like you can't miss that opportunity, you know?
Right, right.
Um, but my first lat tear took several months to heal, and I had like 3 months to heal this one. And so when we were doing like the events, like the bar muscle up event, I was basically doing like jumping bar muscle ups. Like I couldn't
Wow.
do them. And then I was like literally like on the phone or texting my physical therapist all weekend because every single event I was worried about something, whether it was my Achilles, my lat, or my neck. Like it was just like the first competition I've ever done that like I really had no confidence or idea of what my body was capable of, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And there's some like bad personal experiences going into it too. So I think just mentally, like I was amenorrheic for 2 years and like finally got my period like the day we competed after two
Wow.
years.
Yeah.
So I felt awful. Like I was heavier than normal. My body ached. Like
On top of
emotionally, I
like
was just all over the place. And yeah,
on
on
top
top
of
of
like
all these
not
injuries,
knowing like what your body's actually capable of.
yeah, it was just so bad. And I like, again, like nothing against anybody else. I honestly just felt like they deserved a better like athlete on the team. And I was just like, I just did not understand why I was like, not like so insecure and like not confident on the floor. Looking
Mhm.
back, it's like, of course, you've dealt with like 2 years of just being injured. And
Mhm.
we had an event where I was doing box jumps and like re-injured my Achilles. I could barely do an air squat. The next day, I had to attempt a 235-pound clean, and I was like, so that day I like left like so upset. Like I just felt like I don't know. I just felt like I was such a liability on the team.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I really like wanted to show up on the final day. And I was able to like hit not the 235 clean, but I was able to do the ones up until then. Um, but it was just such a shaky event. Like the whole weekend just felt so shaky. And I was just constantly like worried about what was happening. I didn't feel like
Yeah.
myself, and usually I'm like pretty jokey and like bubbly and stuff. And I just felt like I was super quiet all weekend, just like
Yeah.
in my own bubble. It just wasn't like fun for me. It couldn't have been fun for anyone else either. So yeah, that was the last one. And then the next year, I was like told I was going to be on the team up until the day of quarterfinals, and then I got kicked off the team, and I was like, well, okay.
Dang.
So I moved forward from that, but I was still dealing with some like injuries and stuff, and I kind of just
Yeah.
felt like since I got injured, I was just kind of like left to my own devices a little bit, and then that's when I hired you through Blacklisted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've had I think you've had a pretty extensive, competition experience. So like you've had a lot. You've competed at a very high level for a long period of time, and like it's unfortunate. Like right as you were that 5 to 6 year mark is where you kind of peak in the sport, and so it's just unfortunate that your 5 to 6 year mark was COVID, and then all the injuries started to roll in, which I think at one point in time we were kind of speculating that it actually might have been from COVID and still having like some of the spike protein rolling around in your body. Um,
Yeah, when we talked about that, I went to my nurse practitioner and she was like, that's like a very valid thing that could have happened. It basically
mhm,
like kind of created an autoimmune
mhm,
disorder essentially.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. So, what are some of the lessons that you've kind of like learned and you're trying to instill in athletes over the course of your competitive career then?
Yeah, I think just like from personal experience, like overtraining and constantly doing more and thinking that more is going to be better and like always hitting like super high intensity isn't necessary and like in fact can like burn you out a lot sooner.
Mhm,
Um, yeah, you can be resilient, but like just because you can be doesn't mean you should all the time. Um,
mhm,
there's definitely a level of like some people who do need to like push harder and just like be okay with hurting sometimes. And then there's some people that you're like, hey, we don't need to be like trying to fight for a PR in every single workout. Sometimes it's okay to work between like your 70 and 80% and not 100%. Um, do less better.
mhm.
Sometimes it's not about like having half your day filled with just working out and training. Like I know a lot of the games athletes do that or say they do that, but there is probably more benefit to smart training than just more training.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about like you know, this is also something that I've kind of like dealt with. Like I've been to 5 regionals or something like that, 5 or 6, I can't remember. And it has to have been 5. So I've been to 5 regionals. 2 of them we've qualified for the games. 3 of them we've been one spot out of qualifying for the games. So I share that experience and that pain. So what are some of the lessons that you learned from that, or like that you can instill in some of your athletes from that experience?
Man, truthfully, like even if you don't think it matters, like every second matters, especially
Mhm.
like that last push in a workout or a transition, running to the finish line. Like those things can matter and add up a lot, especially when it comes down to just, I mean, it's just points. It's just like a sport. Like
Mhm.
a team can win by 1 point and you can lose by 1 point. Like you don't want to leave that on the table ever.
Yeah.
Transitions are very important. Um, Working, if you're on a team, especially like being really symbiotic when you're on the floor, calling things out, like making sure you're yelling so people can hear you, that you're tagging, all the rules, like the the amount of times I've had like mistakes happen on the floor because people like didn't listen during the brief and just didn't take accountability for knowing what was going on or like where we were supposed to be on the floor during
Yeah.
like okay, I have to do rope climbs, but you have to be off the mat in order for me to start this. And like, there's someone like waiting on the mat, and you're like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
those little things can like really stack up to make your time slower.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
the
then
other thing too is like getting no rep and just fixing it and moving forward versus being like, what? Why? Like, what's
yeah.
going on? And don't question it. Just, you got no reps. Okay, like, move forward, make it better, fix it, do whatever the judge is asking you to do.
Yeah.
Maybe a judge isn't doing that for somebody else, but that's something you can't control. Like, don't be pointing. I've had people like, look at them, like that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Like your judge is not judging that person. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it was like even last year at Beach Brawl. Remember
Uh,
my first event? Like, the girl next to me was like doing everything we were told not to. And my judge was like making me stick to the rules.
there was, yeah, and I think there was a girl that I don't think she genuinely got I don't know because of the angle, but from the angle that I was at, like genuinely did not get touch her chest to the bar.
Yeah, it
But
was that
was
same girl.
yeah, but
Like,
was yes, yeah, but was getting all the chest to bar reps, and it was like, okay, like that sucks, but it's not something you can control. So
there was like several things. Like, the first thing. I was just like, man, this is the first event. This is how this is gonna go. But the first thing was like we were supposed to face a certain way on box jumps. And I was facing the right way, but like nobody else was. And I was like, did I
Yeah.
make this up in the briefing? I swear they told us to do that. And then so I started turning around and my judge told me to turn back around. And I was like, okay. And then
Yeah.
we were supposed to change our own weights, but we had to clip the bar. Like that was a rule. You cannot start lifting unless your bar is clipped. And she never put her clips on the bar. So
Yeah.
that whole
Right.
like transition made it so much faster. And I was just like, you know
Yeah.
what? Okay, that's how it's gonna be. All
That's how
right.
it's gonna be. Yeah. 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 And I think too that one thing that people forget is like the judges get briefed as well. And like if you have athletes who are supposed to be out on the floor competing, like they have a lot on the line at stake, and they get things wrong. A judge who like might be there because it's fun is definitely gonna get things wrong. Like,
Yeah.
and that's like that's just part of the game and part of the sport. So,
Hmm.
um, what about like coming off of like emotionally or mentally, like coming off of some an experience like that where it's like, again, we're 1 point out from qualifying, or again, one spot out from qualifying. Like, what have you learned, kind of like mentality wise, that you can instill in athletes now from that experience?
Yeah, I think reflection always, like did you do everything in your control to do your best? And like you're still a point short. You did what you could. Let's look at what you need to improve on and like let that light a fire to just work every day at it.
Mm-hmm.
I can look back at like pretty much two things that have like kept me from qualifying. It's like
Mm-hmm.
handstand push-ups and double unders, which are two things I still work on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and those are like I'm doing what I can to work on them, and like if I'm not as good as the rest of the field, they're just better at me than that thing. But like again, if you can't control it, there's no point in like idling on it and sitting on it and just being upset over it. Just take it, move forward, and work on it. Use it as a torch to kind of like light your flame a little bit and work harder next year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is. Do you give yourself like a certain amount of time to just feel bad about it, or?
I was just gonna say I call them LBMs, little bitch minutes.
Okay.
So like for I use this term for life, like all the time. Like, okay, you have a bad training session, take 5 minutes to be a little bitch and then move on. Like you have to let it go and like move on. But competitions like that too. Like if you let this is another thing too. Like I've had people on team let like one event affect the rest of our whole weekend, and
Totally.
you have to have the cats are behind me.
Oh.
But you just have to have like short-term memory and long-term vision. So like, okay, yeah, like you missed by 1 point, you worked really hard, your whole season relied on that. Like, give yourself a few days to like be upset, like it's fine. If you don't allow that, like you're just being fake at that point, and like emotions are real, and if you care, like you're gonna be emotional to some extent.
Totally.
Um, like if you go through a breakup or like someone dies, like you have maybe a couple weeks, or I limit it to a week. Like have your
Mm-hmm.
LBMs for like a week or two, and then after that, life still needs to go on. Like you still
Mm-hmm.
need to work, you still need to provide for people or yourself or whatever. But with like competitions like that, like give yourself a few days if you traveled, like go enjoy the scenery, like be a person, take a few days off of training. Once you're done with the emotions, like take some time to journal and reflect and just like write down what went well, like what you're proud of, because not everything went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think that's really important. Like let yourself feel the feels and then address it. Let's get to work.
Yeah, yeah. I think that that is one of the biggest things that athletes have trouble with is just getting over something and getting over an experience. And especially in intra competition, like you gotta learn how to ride the highs and forget about the lows. And it is way easier said than done. But yeah, I like the LBMs. We'll
Yeah.
have to. I'm gonna go back and reflect on some of my experiences and be like, all right, your LBM's over.
Yeah, yeah. I like dictate like a certain amount of time, and I'm like, okay, my 2 days is up. Here we go. Got to get back
Yeah,
to training.
yeah,
I do
yeah,
also think it's helpful to like talk about it with someone too, like
yeah.
especially like that's what your coach is for. like, or they should be like, talk to me. How are you feeling? You can say anything. I'm not going to take it as like you complaining or being a little bitch. Like, I want to
Mhm.
hear what you're feeling. And, it's probably pretty valid if you care about the sport.
Yeah, yeah. I think is like especially as like guys, like you don't necessarily need to talk as much about kind of what's going on, and there might be like some bravado about like I'm too tough to talk about it, but that's actually one thing that I learned like early on is the the good stuff doesn't need to be talked about as much because you're just riding a high and like people
Hmm.
see that the energy's good like you don't need to chat with people about that as much. But man, when you're down, like genuinely just talking about like how bad that sucked or like what's next for you or whatever it might be that's on your mind helps out so much in getting that away from you and like letting it kind of just dissipate so that you can be able to come back and train and hit things hard again.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
um
definitely.
yeah, so I guess what are some of your coaching goals going forward here? We got a couple more minutes and we gotta jump off, but
Oh, yeah.
um yeah, what do you have goal wise coaching?
Yeah, I think, I have so much experience like on the field and I have been coaching for like over 10 years as well. So I think just like really being able to like spread my reach more versus like just being in my gym. Being able to spread my reach and also like take people that like kind of are probably also on that like bubble level where they're like so
Yeah,
close. They just need that extra inch and like being able to get them over that hump.
totally.
That's a really satisfying feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the best coaches are the ones that kind of lived in that bubble period because they had to learn so much to come even close to getting over that bubble. So,
And like just how CrossFit's evolved and the training side of things that
yeah.
like training for competition's so different than just what CrossFit actually is, or what the
Right.
methodology says it is.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that's good. Well, sweet Brie, how do people find you here? Like, what's your Instagram? Obviously they'll see you more on our Instagram, but how do people get a hold
Yeah,
of you?
yeah, I'm excited. Instagram is at Brianna Biegert, so it's Brianna Siegert, just my first and last, or my first initial, or my first letter of my first and last name switched around.
Right on, right on.
If that
No
was not
numbers?
confusing at all. No numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Make it more confusing.
Oh my gosh. Underscore
Yeah.
exclamation point.
Bring it back to the MySpace days.
Oh my gosh, I wish I missed that.
Yeah.
You change your MySpace handle like every other day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right on, Bree. Thank you for coming on. We're very excited to have you on board as well.
I'm
So,
super pumped to be here.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, please like and subscribe if you have not yet. Give Bree a follow on Instagram, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.